Hello, I'm just going to do a quick live on painting the new tulip file. This is a brand new file that I just did, and it's similar to the other one, but there's a few changes. So this one has petals that you can take off. So how this one works is it has score lines on it, so you can take the petals off and put them on here. Also has the score line, so you can place the flourishes on. There's two ways to make it. You can take this whole piece off and only place them on here if you want it just single layered and do it like that. And you can put these on here like that and just paint this part and then place them on and then do that. So you can do it two different ways. So you can do it like that, or you can use this other piece and add an extra layer. And you can also put it on the back side too, so they can be front and back. So you can cut it 2 times, or you can do it just on the front. But I kind of like the extra layer, so I went ahead and cut the extra piece. You don't need this piece if you don't want to do that extra layer. I just happen to like the extra piece, so you don't have to try to get it right up against there. If you're a really good painter and you can get right to there with the stem, you know, you can do it like that. I'm personally going to do it on this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead, take these pieces off, just set them off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and start painting the tulips, the petals of the tulip. I'm just using some pink. I really like a pink color. So I'm going to go ahead and get some more paint. I really think pink would look really pretty, but you can choose whatever colors you like. I apologize, I can't see any of the comments. Maybe it's just my phone or my Facebook, but if you're here, just say hello and I'll check them out afterwards. And I'll try to answer any questions after we're finished. I'm going to do a couple different paint techniques on these. I put a little bit too much paint on this. I'll wipe some of that off. Ooh, got a lot of extra paint there. So I'm going to take these little flourishes off and do the next one. Just take some of that extra paint off. And you can still see the score lines through that. I'm just using acrylic paint on this one. I'm going to do the chalk paint on the leaves. So I'm just going to wipe some of that extra paint off. Definitely put a little too much on there. Okay. So, because this is acrylic paint, they often need an extra coat. With chalk paint, you usually only need one, but I really like this color. I wanted a nice, pretty pastel pink. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on. I'm gonna keep wiping some of this off. I apologize, my heater is on. I'm out in the garage and it's a little cold out here, so if you hear my heater on, that's what that is. That kind of a loud noise. It's a little chilly here in Rochester today. It is, we just haven't had much warm weather for April. It's just a little cold. We're supposed to warm up next week, but not till next weekend. It's been like 50s. It's not the warmest. It's supposed to be in the 70s next week, but I'm not sure if we're ever going to get there. Maybe May. I don't know. I think we're supposed to get some snow this week. I don't know if you guys, what weather's like where you guys live, but it is pretty chilly here. So I'm just taking some of that extra paint off. So those are my petals. I am gonna do some cool effects on the sides of the petals. So let me just get some more paint. I like to just put take the paint from the cap, so I don't have to put it in a little dish and waste any paint. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on here, give it a second coat. I try to avoid getting the paint on the edges of these. You can paint the edges if you wanted to. I am gonna paint the edges of the leaves because I feel like you kind of need to do that, because you do see the sides. So I'm gonna do both sides of the leaves. So here are my petals. I really like this color. This is called pixie dust. And I've never heard of this brand. This is Paper Artsy Fresco Finish. It's chalk acrylic. I've never heard of that brand, but I just picked it up at our local craft shop. Thought it was kind of cool. And I always like to try to play with new brands of paint I've never tried before. All right, so that one looks pretty good. Never heard of a chalk acrylic paint before. Kind of neat. And that color is called Pixie Dust. And I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna try the art crayons for the edges, just to give it some dimension. There we are. And I'm gonna paint the back side. And you don't have to paint the whole back side of the tulip, of this here, because most of it's gonna be covered by these petals. So as you can see, you can still see the score lines, so you know where to place the flourishes. There we go. I think I'm gonna do the flourishes maybe a white, maybe a white chalk paint. There we go, get some more paint. I'm just gonna do one for our live video, and then I'll do the rest off camera, but I just at least wanted to do a quick tutorial on how these assemble, and so you can see how these go together. All right. There we go. And I'm gonna try to get some other stuff painted today. I'm gonna try to get those dogs painted. I wanna try some new techniques. I got all these cool paints. Got them a while back. In the winter time. I just haven't had time to get a lot of stuff painted lately. So I'm gonna try to get those done today too. So there are my my petals. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the back side a darker color, just so it stands out a little bit. I have this one called Lily the Pink. So I'm gonna try that. All right, let's shake up my paints. All right. I'm seeing some comments now. Oh, cold and raining in Woodruff. All right, Polly. Oh, yeah, it's sunny here finally right now. We haven't seen the sun since Tuesday. It's been a bit. It's been kind of gross here. I'm kind of over this rain, and I get it. It's April. They say April showers bring May flowers, but I'm kind of sick of this weather. I'm just like over it. All right, so I'm gonna paint this backside piece, but you really only just need to get those ones in between that are gonna show. So I'm just gonna grab some of this Lily the Pink. It's a little darker pink. All right, so I'm just gonna get those pieces that are going to show. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get those pieces here. I really like this color too. This is really pretty. I might do this on some of the other flowers on the petals, because that is a really pretty pink. Love that. It looks like an orchid. Really love that. That's a nice color. Okay. Just gonna make sure I get those edges really good that you're gonna see. You really don't need to get all of it. Just those edges. There we go. That's a really pretty color. And if you have these colors in other brands, feel free to use them. It's a really pretty orchid. I'm so excited about the tulips coming up right now. I have a cherry tree in my backyard that has some really pretty white flowers on it. I can't wait to get some cherries from it. All right. So I'm just gonna make sure I really coat that really well. I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'll set it over here. I'm gonna add another coat to that. So I'm gonna just set my paintbrushes here. And so we have Oh, here it is, getting them mixed up. So you're gonna wanna do both sides of this. You're gonna paint that. I have some green paint here. This is like a sage green. Shake up my paints. And I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this green on here. Let me get a bigger paintbrush for this one because I want to paint this a little faster. So this is a Dixie Belle, like a sage green. This is called Weeping Willow. And that's the name of this color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and what I want to do is really make sure that when I'm painting this, I really want to make sure I'm getting these edges because you are going to see these. Just because you're going to see those sides, like you're going to see this because I don't think it's going to look good if they're black. You're going to notice that right away because you're going to see that because that's going to be like the front of the flower. So I always like to make sure I get these really, really heavily. So make sure you get those sides. So I always like to get those. Let me get some more paint. And of course my hands look lovely. I always get paint all over my fingers. I'm a messy painter. All right. There we are. Really get those edges real nice. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry before I get the other side. I'm gonna come back to this because I don't want this to be, I don't want it to like sit on the paper towel and get any weird texture. So I will come back to that. Really get those edges. And I can come back and add more to that. So, and then here is your back piece. I'm gonna make sure I get the stem and these flowers, the leaves rather. I really get those good. And I do the same thing. I like to get those edges. I like to get in between there. I don't know, it's just me. And you can do the same thing, like if you want to paint the edges of these, you can do that too. And there's my heater kicking off. It is a chilly day. I hear my neighbors outside mowing their lawns. A little chilly for me. I don't even know what temperature it is right now, but it's a little cold. So I have my heater on out here. So I can't wait for it to warm up so I can open my garage doors up and hang out and have the breeze coming through. It's really nice when the weather's nice, but it is a little cold out here. Especially in the dead of winter, it can get really cold, but I did get the garage insulated to keep my laser out here because I didn't want my laser to freeze or anything. I do have antifreeze in my laser, but still, it does get pretty cold in the garage, but it doesn't go below freezing because of the insulation I have. But where do you guys keep your lasers? I used to keep them in the, I have my other ones. I have my Glowforge in the house, but I don't like the smell, so I prefer to have my laser out in the garage. And it does vent outside. There we go. Make sure I get those edges. Just really want to get those in there. And if you want to do this double-sided, you can do this on the back, and then you can glue another one on the back, like one of these, an extra tulip, and you can put that on the back, and you can make it double-sided, and you can totally do a totally different color on the other side, and that would look really cool. So you can do like a blue tulip on the back, and a pink one on the front. It's really however you want to do it. Here we are. So I'm pretty happy with that. Really want to get those edges. what I love about the chalk paint is you really can just do this in one coat. That's what I love about that. I feel like acrylics just take a little bit more. So, and here I just really want to get those sides. There we go. A little bit more paint. And I prefer the folk art paint. You can get that at Michael's or Joann's, Hobby Lobby, and it's a little bit less expensive. And you can use a coupon, which is nice. Okay. So I'm only gonna do the front side of these, but it's really up to you if you want to do both sides. There we are. That looks nice. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect right here because you're going to be gluing that other piece on top. So unless you decide you don't want to glue that other piece on top, you don't have to. But if you're a really good painter, if you can get right to that edge and then paint this, that's totally up to you. I give the option of having that extra piece that goes on there just for some added dimension. But that's really up to you how you want to do it. Now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And there we are. And you can see how good coverage chalk paint has. It just covers up those char lines. I have an air compressor on my mirror, so on the front I usually don't have a lot of char. It's usually the back side because my laser is a little dirty. My honeycomb is dirty. I really need to clean it. So I have a lot of ickiness on the backs. So that's something I need to do. I need to clean that. As soon as the weather warms up, I'm going to get out there with my power washer and clean that up. Okay, so you want to do both sides of this. All right, just make sure I didn't rub any of that paint off with my fingers before. There we go. Just kind of make sure I don't have any blobs. Yeah, looks pretty good. Just make sure I get those edges. I didn't wipe any of it off. Make sure I have no blobs. And chalk paint dries so fast. So that's what I like about it too. Made a little bit of a mess with my fingers. All right, so there it is. So my petals are done there for that flower. I'm gonna come back and grab a little bit more of this darker pink. Add a little bit more because I think it needs another coat. I really love this color. This is a really pretty color, and it dries much darker than it started out. So I really like that. So you just really only need it on those edges. You don't need to do all those pieces inside. Okay, so this is just getting those pieces. And I can still see, I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but I can still see the score lines in real life. I can still see where I have to glue those petals on. All right. Just want to make sure I don't have any paint strokes. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that dry. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do my flourishes. So these are the flourishes for this. These are all good to go. I'll set those over here for now. So I think I might do these in a white. I'll grab another clean brush. Actually, I might do that. I have this color and it's kind of like a, almost like a blue. I'm gonna do that one. I think I might do that instead of white. And my heater's kicking on. just gonna wipe some of this off. It's like a very, very light pastel. A little bit of a white, like very light. It almost looks white, but it has a hint of blue to it. This is actually furniture paint. I buy these little tiny furniture paint samples, and they cover really, really well in one coat. So if you ever go to any of your local craft stores, and they have like furniture sample, like furniture paint samples, I definitely recommend trying them. They are really awesome. This brand is called Fusion Mineral Paint. And for people who like paint furniture, it's a pretty good brand. I like that a lot. And they're usually just like a few dollars. So I pick up like a lot of those. So, and they really do cover really well. I'm just wiping off the extra paint. I put a little bit too much on. So I'm just wiping off that extra because you really don't need much. This is a pretty good brand. Okay. So that's done. All right. So now I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to grab like maybe a pink. So I have these art crayons, and I got I think I have every color of these art crayons. These are fun. You can get these at on Amazon or your local craft stores. I just bought these on Amazon. So I think I'm gonna go with this color. And I'm gonna just go ahead and try along the edge. There we go, just make sure extra off. So I'm gonna just kind of go along and just rub it along the sides just to give it some dimension. And then I take my finger and I just kind of rub it along. You don't have to use your finger. You can use like a makeup sponge to blend it. I just like using my fingers, but you don't have to use your fingers, and I don't mind getting messy. So I just like to just kind of take the edge and just rub it along the sides. I love these crayons. These are so much fun. They have some pretty good deals if you buy like a big set of these. They're really not too pricey if you buy all of them at once. I think I spent maybe $50, and I think I got like, I want to say it was like a 50 pack, but don't quote me on it. I got a decent amount. But I got a lot. It's like my craft addiction. I can't stop buying craft supplies. I don't know if you guys have that problem, but I see something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try that. So now I have way too many craft supplies. So I like to make it a little darker at the edge and then kind of make it a little bit lighter as I go towards the middle. And this almost even kind of blends and with the color that's going to be underneath, so it will really be a nice good blend. Okay, so there's that. I don't know if you can see that. So just putting it right on the edge very lightly. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to just set this over here, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the petals. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to blend it. So that, even like chunks happen, and you just blend it out. Just take your finger, blend it out, or you can use a sponge. Like I said, I don't mind getting my fingers dirty. Washes off. And there we go. Just make sure your fingers aren't dirty when you start. There we go. And there's one of my petals. I'll grab another one. There we go. Just blend it out. There we go. And I'm just going to blend it. apologize for the noise of the heater. I hope you guys don't hear that too much. All right. If I turn it off, it would get kind of cold in here. All right. Just make sure that they're kind of done symmetrically. Like if there's one that's more than the other, I don't want that to look too much. Okay. Make sure at the middle. So I feel like I did the petals a little bit more than I did the middle piece. So I'm just going to go back, add a little bit more. If you really want extra dimension, you can use like one of the darker colors for extra dimension. So I'm gonna just go ahead, set that down, put my cap back on this. These are just a lot of fun to use. So they come in a lot of different colors. They even have sparkly ones. Lots of fun. So I'm just gonna move this paint out of my way. All right, so let's come back over here and take a look. So like this. Here we are. That is so pretty. So you're gonna set that right up down on top. Make sure when you glue this, you just match them up perfectly. Let's see how we like it. I mean, I'm discovering this at the same time you guys are. So if we don't like it, we can always go back and change it up. So there's that. And I think that really blends nicely. It looks like a really nice highlight on the petals. Look at that. That looks really sharp. I'll let you guys see that. That looks really pretty. And you can see that other color coming through. And I think that that crayon that I picked blends in. It looks like the color underneath. I think that worked out really nice. So it almost looks like it's kind of 3D looking. That looks really nice. I'm really happy with that. Now let's see how we like the flourishes. So you're gonna match up, you can still see the score line. If you can see that, you can still see it pretty clearly. And now we're just gonna match up those flourishes on there. So there's that. So that's all there is. And then you're just gonna take this piece and it just slides right in there. There it goes, it just slides, pops right in. And this is nice and loose, so you can add that paint. And this is done with MDF, so that slides nicely in and out. So these will store flat, and that slides right in there. Just make sure that when you cut anything that's 3D like this, you have to measure your materials first. Always use a digital caliper to make sure that your materials fit the file. So otherwise you're gonna have to make adjustments. So MDF tends to be about 0.11. So I did make the slots 0.132, so they are a little bit wider than you need. If you need to adjust, you can go ahead and adjust those in your software. But I do make them a little bit wider, so that way if you get paint inside there, you can go ahead and they should fit nicely. So if you get the paint in there, that it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so a lot of times when I do the slots, people use birch or different types of materials, and 1/8 inch material is 0.125, usually a standard. So MDF is a little bit thinner than your standard 1/8. This file also does come with a 1/4 version too, so it comes with both. So that way, if you're a 1/4 fan, it does come with both. So that's all there is to making this file. And like I said, you can cut this again and put it on the other side and make it double-sided. So that's all there is. I hope you guys like this new design for the tulips. And I still have to paint the dogs. And I also did cut the pieces for the new Highland cow. I'll just go ahead and show you real quick. So these are the new pieces for the Highland cow. I just got to get those painted. So I will try to get those up and listed soon too. And I got to get the dogs painted, and I still have the skulls to paint, and I have the pumpkins to paint. So I got a lot of stuff to paint. I'm just a little bit behind on getting stuff staged and painted, but they are coming, and hoping you guys really like these new tulips. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye.